Hello and good evening. Welcome to Untitled, and thank you for joining me once again for this interactive program, which offers you a platform to share your ideas and concerns with your Prime Minister on a regular basis. As I've said so many times on so many occasions, this is the approach to governance that I subscribe to and will continue to practice. My first concern and priority is always you, the people of Dominica. I want to hear directly from you, determine the best ways I can serve you, and devise policies and programs to improve your lives and that of your families. First, I wish to take some time to congratulate the newest representative of the people, Dr. Vince Henderson, who won handsomely in the just concluded by-election in the Granby constituency. Dr. Henderson will be a welcome member of our team, who I am confident will add value to our efforts to develop this country into the dynamic Dominica we promised. I congratulate him for his efforts during the past month of campaign. He spent a considerable amount of time getting to know his constituents and the issues which affect them. This is the model of the Dominica Labour Party. We are focused on enhancing lives and on meeting people where they are so that we can better respond to their everyday challenges. I am proud of our record in this regard, and I thank the people of the Granby constituency for responding to our sincere approach and commitment to serve their needs and continue to provide them with strong representation following the passing of our fallen comrade, Ed Regis. The people of Granby have once again placed their confidence in the Dominica Labour Party as the best and only party which can effectively represent their interests. I am personally grateful for the trust they have shown me as the leader of the Dominica Labour Party. When I presented Dr. Henderson as the recommended candidate for the Labour Party, I asked the constituents of Granby to trust me to act in their best interests. The impressive voter turnout and the high margin of victory speak volumes. I thank them for this show of confidence and say in no uncertain terms to the people of Granby, because as a person, I value true friendship and loyalty. The Granby voters have demonstrated that to me. Your loyalty and faith will continue to be rewarded. I thank you most graciously for this show of confidence. Already, my friends, major infrastructural projects are in the pipeline for the area, including the construction of the Meacham Bridge, and I saw it has been affected again with the heavy rains earlier today. And this bridge is part of the Lube to Bacatel Road Rehabilitation Project. As a matter of fact, I believe that there are 5 bridges or 6 bridges to be constructed under this project. Work is near completion on the Granby Primary School, which will be named in honor of our fallen comrade, Honorable Edward Regis, for his contribution to the Granby constituency and Dominica, and of course, his commitment to education in that constituency. And we should soon see play resume on the soon-to-be-completed, newly rehabilitated Geneva playing field, and I'm sure Willie Favre is very happy to see that work is ongoing on this project. And of course, dozens of new homes will be constructed across the constituency, in Mountain, in Gaza, in Bordeaux, in Granby, also in Grand Colibri. We're committed to addressing the housing situation there. Exciting times lie ahead for the Granby constituency and, of course, Dominica by extension. But despite the obvious challenges, we are forging ahead. I call on citizens to look with hope to the developments that are already underway in this country. This is a working government. And as all Dominicans say, Labour ka travail. And we will continue to create opportunities for every single Dominican. On Monday, we go to the Parliament to pass a resolution for the approval of the rules-based fiscal responsibility framework. As promised, we have done necessary reviews following consultations with various stakeholders and finalized the framework which will now be brought to the Parliament. It was important that we got this measure right because the fiscal responsibility framework will assist us as a country to continue to provide strong and prudent management, and as a government also, strong and prudent management of the public finances and oversee more comprehensive and credible budget process. It will also enhance fiscal discipline, increase transparency, and accountability in matters related to the macroeconomic management of the state. And I want to say to us, as citizens, that with this fiscal responsibility framework, it is really something that every family and every business should really seek to have, because it will help you cushion the impact of external shocks and even the pandemic that we are facing or natural disaster. And also, as part of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, we have a responsibility to see this framework through, to keep our commitment to attain a debt to gross domestic product target of 60% by 2035, and to ensure we can attain a level of savings in order to better respond to the needs of the people of Dominica. If we do not manage the affairs of the state in a prudent manner and there are no savings, the question is, how are we going to effect the kind of development that all of us would like for our country, and how can the government better place itself to assist you, the people of Dominica? The implementation of this measure, I believe, will contribute to financial stability, growth, competitiveness, and equity to facilitate a sustainable and resilient economy. Another important measure on the order paper is the introduction of a bill for an act to modernize public procurement in Dominica. The act is entitled Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Property, and will provide for the retention and disposal of public property in accordance with the principles of good governance. It will also allow for the establishment of the Public Procurement Board and the Procurement Review Council. You know, every so often there's talk about procurement and increased transparency. We are bringing this new bill to the Parliament to respond to some of the concerns, even if sometimes the concerns that some people raise are ill-placed. We'll also seek parliamentary approval for the supplementary estimates of expenditure for the year 2020-2021, amounting to $275 million, and introduce a number of bills. This includes bills for the amendment to the Title by Registration Act, the Stamp Duty Act, and also the Income Tax Act. The amendments to the Title by Registration Act, the Stamp Duty, and the income tax will all put money in people's pockets and further empower our people. I look forward to you joining us for the debate in the House over the next few days. I'm not sure how long, we'll see how long it goes, but certainly we start tomorrow at 10. Last evening, I met with a number of Dominican entertainers to hear their concerns about the impact of COVID-19 on their livelihoods. As we all know, we have had to curtail the hosting of entertainment events and social gatherings for fear of the spread of COVID-19. We do understand, though, however, the severe consequences for entertainers who are, simply put, out of work. I was happy to engage with the over 50 entertainers, musicians, promoters, service providers, sound engineers, and others who shared the ideas and recommendations on how we can generate activity and income within the industry despite the pandemic. I asked the entertainers to organize a working group which will make structured recommendations to government on the best approaches to resolving the issues they face. That group should be in place by the end of the week, and I look forward to their submissions soon so that we can move forward with those recommendations. As I told the meeting last night, I believe this approach can benefit our development efforts in Dominica. This government is open to hearing the ideas of all sectors and considering ways that we can together, because we must understand that we're in this together, confront the challenges of our times. This pandemic affects us all, and we must devise ways as a nation to take care of our people and to help them protect their health and their livelihoods. My dear friends, now we're hearing of a new COVID-19 variant named Omicron, which has been identified in countries in South Africa, in the southern part of Africa, and the United Kingdom, Germany, and Israel. This is really news that we do not or would not have liked to hear at this time. A new variant. We have seen how these variants work, and so our guard must be up. Our guard must be up. Our guard must be up. We are already hearing that the new mutation, which is potentially more transmissible, may be able to evade immunity. The World Health Organization has already declared it a variant of concern. It supports our conviction that vaccination is the key to building community immunity, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to respond to this call. If this variant is in fact more contagious, then we need to do what is necessary to protect our lives. In Dominica, the vaccines are available. At this point, we are no longer experiencing vaccine hesitancy, but more so vaccine resistance. People are simply opposed to taking the vaccines for no logical or fact-based scientific reason. How do we continue on like this? How do we continue on like this? We really can't continue on like this at all. And we all know it. Our lives and the lives of our loved ones are at risk. Our livelihoods are at risk. The lives of the elderly are threatened. And the future of our children is further compromised. There are still too many children in the country who are not vaccinated. And if we're going to want to get back to face-to-face classroom, then we have to get our children vaccinated. Okay, you, the parent, don't want to take it, but why can't you allow your child to take it? When I look at the percentages of the school population and those who have gotten vaccinated, it is way too large in terms of the number of people who have not taken the vaccine in school. So I'm urging parents, let us do what is just and what is right by our children. This government has certainly played its part, and no one can contest that. No one can contest that we have played our part. We have provided every single eligible citizen with the access to testing and, more importantly, to vaccines. The choice is yours to make. The choice is yours to make. And I encourage you to make the wise and logical choice for yourselves and your families. On today's program, I will take your questions and comments. You can call on 225-3400 or 611-3400. 225-3400 or 611-3400. Thank you very much. Another point I want to draw to the public's attention is that we will be announcing soon a decision to allow for booster shots among the vulnerable population. We are simply waiting now to increase our stock of vaccines. Once that is in place, then we'll announce the precise date of the commencement of that decision which the Cabinet has taken with regards to the booster shots and based on the recommendation of the Ministry of Health. And so persons who have underlying health issues, the elderly, you'll be afforded the opportunity to get a booster shot, and we are hoping to get some additional doses of vaccines very soon. Thank you. I also want to share with you an update on some initiatives that we would like to take. You know, we recognize that we have a great number of young architects in the country. And we intend to give these young architects an opportunity to tender on some projects. So we very soon, with the Ministry of Public Works, we'll be putting out some RFPs for the submission of conceptual drawings for a number of important facilities across the country, and we'll be exposing this to the local architects as an opportunity to engage a wide cross-section of the society on the issue of drawings and architectural designs and so forth. Also, very soon we'll be launching. We're actually finalizing the drawings and the designs for several housing interventions in Scottsdale. I'm so happy for my friends in Scottsdale. We'll be building those homes. The first phase in Savon in Scottsdale. Also in Point Michelle, the first phase in Point Michelle. Then we also will be doing the first phase in Eggleston. As you know, we acquired some lands from private owners there to build those homes, so we'll be moving with this. Also in Canefield East, government-owned lands there. We'll be doing the first phase for the folks in Massac and Canefield. And Woodfordale, we're finalizing the acquisition of some additional lands in Woodfordale, so that I know there's so many of you in Woodfordale who need homes, but you know they're challenged with land, and so we're seeking to acquire additional lands there to build homes for you. And there are several other areas that we will be building homes. Paybush in Balmore Park, and also I know the partner is finalizing the acquisition of some lands in Calibishi. So desperately need some homes there in Calibishi. And of course, we will continue to announce other communities and Platma Pair. You know, they will have to complete the 10 homes. Then, of course, the commitment to this. Very soon we'll come to Scottsdale. I know Scottsdale has been concerned about the brick in the road and the retaining wall. So we have the final drawings and costings. I'm trying to see whether the Ministry of Public Works can shave some of on this, because you know monies are tight to come by these days, and we have to see whether we can do the same thing for less. So I'm hoping that I can get this final stuff from them. And I wanted to also speak about the issue of online learning. I really want to thank the many teachers and principals who have been ingenious with their efforts, you know, to excite our children with the online learning. I know when you're at home, the children have so many distractions, and so I really want to commend the teachers. I would also want to commend the parents. You know, we know it's challenging for many of you, but the government has been able to provide the devices across the primary schools in Dominica and secondary schools. And this has certainly helped in terms of children having access to a device, a proper device, rather than the parents' phones. And also with the initiative by the government through the NTRC, subsidizing the access to the internet, and so children have access to the internet. They have access to a device, and it has placed all our primary school children in a very strong position to access. On Facebook, somebody is asking for an update on the health centers. As you know, we have the Soufriere, we have the Bacatel, we have the Newtown, we have the Colliho, and we have the Ansdeme and Penville to be commissioned. Penville is completed. I know we needed a few bits and pieces of furniture to be moved. I believe we will be in a position, if all goes well, to commission. I think Bacatel has been ready for some time. Penville certainly. Basically, all the others are completed. It's a matter of putting some of the furniture and equipment. And I'm hoping that sooner rather than later, these additional health centers can be commissioned, and so that our people there can have better access and improve access to improved infrastructure. And certainly, I'm happy for the folks in Pennville in particular. That's my constituency. It is a source of pride and excitement for the residents there. And it has certainly enhanced the ambience in Pennville. And so we look forward to this. And I also want to tell them, the youths in Pennville, that your basketball, you have seen, has started. It will be a court that will certainly be of the highest standards, with bleachers, proper lighting, with washroom facilities, change rooms, and also the same thing will be done in Vegas as well. We have acquired the land in Pennville. Contracts have been signed for these 2 basketball courts, and certainly I'm hoping that once these courts are completed, then we'll make use of them, because that is a challenge sometimes when people ask you for facilities, give it to them and they don't make use of them. But I'm confident that we'll make use of the courts that will be built in this part. I also want to, I know the pilot for Rosa had this initiative, and she made an advance to the Chinese government for table tennis boards for the schools in her constituency. And I believe that she extended it to nationally, and she was able to receive from the Chinese government on her request some 22 table tennis boards, and those table tennis boards will be handed over this week, I believe, Wednesday. And so you may very well see me in action against the Chinese ambassador in ping pong, in table tennis, you know. So come see the Chinese ambassador, beat me on Wednesday afternoon, and so forth. I think Dr. Daru was supposed to play against me, but I think he chickened out because he was a bit scared that I beat him out. But I think we might play, he and I may play off camera, so, you know, so I look forward to this. It's a good initiative there with the table tennis, and I'm hoping that schools can make use of it. I'm certain that I'll make use of it in Vegas in particular, because I know I have some youngsters there who are very keen on table tennis, and the new table tennis board certainly will enhance their skills, and so I look forward to receiving one on your behalf on Wednesday afternoon. Somebody's asking about the $10 barrel this Christmas. We have not finalized the decision on it. There is still an argument, I believe, on this. Sometimes, you know, you put an initiative in place, and people use it the wrong way, you know, and there's always some challenges in terms of how it is rolled out. So there's some issues, you know. Sometimes, you know, people they have 10 barrels and they put it on 10 different bull names, you know, and when you do that, now it affects the economy. You know, it affects the small businesses. It affects job creation in our country. So everything has its pros and cons, and so we are weighing it this year, and we'll determine a final position on this. There's a question on Facebook. When will the Marigot Hospital be commissioned? I think I could say that the hospital is completed. We are now awaiting the equipment and the furniture for this facility, and I believe that the Ministry of Health, along with the hospital authority, have a plan and a strategy on the operationalization of the hospital. We'll all agree that this is a massive hospital, and this hospital was built beyond the needs of the Marigot Health District, because we're not building for 5 years or 6 years or 10 years. We've built this hospital for 40, 50 years. So the hospital, in terms of the space, is way above itself, way beyond itself, and of course the services that will be offered So I've been told that they will be going on a phased approach in terms of the commissioning of the Margaret Hospital and take it step by step, which is a logical approach. But certainly, eventually, the hospital will be fully operational with the international airport coming up on stream, and the developments that will be taking place around the construction of the international airport. Someone on Facebook again asking about the community center for La Plaine. I know we've identified, there was a lot that was identified, but it was too narrow for the structure that we need to build. But it's a commitment that I've given to the La Plaine folks. You know, clearly you have nowhere to host any events, and is certainly a need in La Plaine, and we're committed to doing so. I also want to take the opportunity to say to the folks in Portsmouth, and of course the entire north of Dominica, that and I said some time ago that in the first half of 2022 we expect to commence the construction of the government complex in Portsmouth. It will be an edifice that will excite every one of us, not only in Portsmouth, but in north of Dominica. And I believe that the government owes this to the people of Portsmouth, and we've been speaking about this for some time. And I am happy that we are making progress. I know the PAL rep met with a group of people in Portsmouth, including the mayor of the town, to share with them the government's perspective on this, to share with them the government's vision on this, and to solicit their support and working together to ensure that we can have this project a reality, make this project a reality. So I'm hoping to meet with the committee. I know the Minister, Honorable Douglas, is traveling on official business, so once he returns, and I will meet with the mayor and the councillors and the other leaders in Portsmouth to share the floor plan and to share the facade and the elevations of the structure, so that your input can be solicited and let's move ahead. But this is a building that folks from Rosa are going to come up to Portsmouth to drive to look at. I mean, if they drove from Rosa all the way to see my home in Vickers when it was being built, I'm sure they're going to come to Portsmouth and so on. So they're going to come to see this building in Portsmouth. Where in Rosa will the new health center be built? The new health center in Rosa, we in the Boyd's Avenue, where the existing structure is, hospital, health center is, and also we've been doing some additional acquisitions adjacent to the current Rosa Health Center, and to look at parking on either side of the streets in terms of, and we're even looking at possibly doing a walkway across so that you don't have to cross the street to go to the health center. So very soon we will share with the residents of the Rosa Health District, because you know this health center is not only serving the city of Rosa, it will be serving the Rosa Health District. It's a very large district. So and their dental services, their eye care services, and other services that are primary healthcare services that are offered at the Rosa Health Center. This health center will be about 4 times the size of the existing health centers that we're building. So it won't be a small structure. It will be a massive structure. And also we'll be doing a new health center in St. Joseph. And I know the PAL rep has been working very hard. I know they have located a site for that, a location for that. And the Ministry of Health has, I believe, endorsed the site. We will no longer be building a health center that we currently have to cross a ravine to go to. In terms of building with greater resilience, we have to address this stuff. So this will be taken into consideration. And also we will start the new health center for the cottage area in Savon Pie. Lands have been identified and endorsed and approved by the Ministry of Health as being suitable for the construction of the health center. So that is going to be done. With regards to the goodwill, there are some questions coming to me. When will construction of the Goodwill School be expected to begin? I just held a meeting in the Chinese embassy on this. We are working very closely and diligently with the Chinese authorities on this, not only Goodwill Secondary School, but the Tet 1 Primary School, the Calibishi Primary School, the Thibault Primary School, the Bellevue Chopin Primary School to provide accommodation for the new residents from Petit Savan and Bellevue Chopin, and also the Sineku Primary School. So they're in all 6 schools, 5 primary and 1 secondary. And we are now waiting from the Chinese sent us the draft designs. We made some changes to some of them. And those changes are being factored into the final drawings. We are waiting now a schedule from the Chinese authorities, the Chinese government, but we have made it very clear to them about the urgency of this. And certainly in my meeting with them, I reiterated that particular issue, and so they're very mindful of this. And I'm hoping that in the next week or so, we should really get some indication from the Chinese authority the scheduling of those school. And I understand the Goodwill Primary School secondary school is critical and urgent, and but we're committed to doing a wonderful edifice for the students who attend this secondary school. I know you've waited for so long for this school, but trust me, when it to be done, you'll certainly be satisfied. Likewise, the grammar school, the Ministry of Education is just finalizing. Well, they made some requests in terms of additional considerations, as I understand it, and once those have been addressed, then we will move to the next phase with regards to the Dominica Grammar School. You see another question there. Any updates on the Carhome Road? The Carhome Road, we have some funds from the European Union, and some of those funds, all of the funds have been assigned to farm access roads. Because of the extent of the works which need to be done in Carhome, and I've already given Carhome priority, Carhome and Salisbury Heights, that connection, priority, because of the extent of production in Carhome in particular. So we have to go to tender for this particular road, and I'm hoping that we can do so very soon. So the Carhome Road is on the cards. As you will well recognize, last year we did some works there. We did some concreting of roads, and that was well received by the farmers, because the sections that we did were in a terrible state. And so this was done. And my friends in Calibishi, you will see work hopefully started in the new year. We have finalized the contract for the Calibishi feeder road. It's a significant amount of money being spent, and there are about 8 additional. I do not have the list with me, so I don't want to start calling off my head. But certainly the Minister for Agriculture can provide that list to the public tomorrow or Tuesday. There are 8 or so farm roads, between 6 and 8 farm roads that have gone out to tender. And there are some additional funds, and we're hoping that those additional funds will be made available for a couple of additional roads and so forth. So things are looking up, and it's just a matter of going through these administrative procedures that are required. We have to ensure that we can properly account for the people's monies. So we're going through this period, but I'm happy that the important thing is that we have the funds. And the funds are available. They're here in Dominica in the development aid account. It's just a matter of finalizing the procurement processes, sign the contract, and so we can see work starting. Somebody's asking about any update on the international airport. Well, work is ongoing. We are building the site offices. That is ongoing. The contract was signed. The work is ongoing. Work has started. The lab is basically completed with all of the necessary equipment on island. There's a final stage of tendering taking place. I believe there are 4 companies that have been shortlisted, international companies that have been shortlisted for this project. And we will go through the review of the tender documents and make a determination on the award of a contract. But I want to assure Dominicans that in this international airport construction, we will certainly carve out opportunities for Dominicans. But we have to be diligent. We have to understand that that we are engaging ourselves in business, and we need to be serious when we get work, and be diligent when we get work. But certainly, we will be providing Dominicans with this. When will the Rosa Enhancement project commence? We will continue with the Great George Street. I have directed that the Ministry of Public Works engages the public, especially those persons who are on an immediate street, on Great George Street, to engage the business owners, engage the property owners, to share with them the drawings and the plans and the scheduling of this. We had one outstanding issue with the developer with regards to the running of the cables in the underground docks, and that has been set aside, and so we're moving ahead of this. And also we have a particular group of people who have been selling on the sidewalks for many years, and we need to ensure that in the process of developing the city and implementing the Rosa Enhancement project, we do not displace people and affect in a negative way their livelihoods. And so we'll be meeting with the street side vendors to offer them to present something to them that we believe, from our perspective, will certainly enhance their opportunities, the business opportunities. So there's some exciting ways I believe that everyone can benefit from this development, from the Rosa Enhancement. So once we commence the Great George Street with new sidewalks, and we will share with you very soon through the Ministry of Public Works and Urban Development, the drawings, and all of the details on this, what the streets will look like when it's completed, so that everyone can appreciate what is being done in respect to the city of Rosa, which is really so important. And very soon also we'll give you further details on the Bayfront, what we intend to do on the Bayfront to create greater opportunities for entrepreneurs, for business people, so that they can be more people can be engaged in enhancing their livelihoods and really bringing a positive ambience to the city and letting the city be a true attraction, and not only for us as Dominicans, but for visitors to our country. Somebody's asking, given the situation in Guadeloupe right now and the possibility of illegal entry, what's my reaction to this? We certainly empathize with the people in Guadeloupe and the challenges that they're going through. We believe that people have a right to express the discontent, obviously respecting the rule of law and respecting everybody's rights to move freely, and people's right for their properties to be protected. Guadeloupe is a place, is a territory that we've had very strong ties with over an extended period of time, and we do hope and pray that the people can get together and engage in a spirit of dialogue and to resolve the issues which are confronting them. And this is all I will say on this matter. In respect to illegal entry, the police are aware of this, the Coast Guard is aware of this, and the necessary measures are being taken to protect the territorial waters of our country. We have also spoken to the French authorities that they themselves also increase their surveillance of the borders, so that we can both work together to ensure that we can eliminate any illegal activities that will take place between our countries. So this is where we are. And of course, with the international airport, you know, I can say to you without any, you know, emphatically, that this airport will come to Dominica. And it's an important piece of infrastructure for us. And I believe that if we can, when we get this airport constructed, you know, we're gonna have a better appreciation for all of the investments that this government has made over the years, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of education, in terms of healthcare, and everything now is falling in place. We are doing the preparations, for example, in Portsmouth for Clare Harbour. As you know, Clare Harbour will be employing about 200, 300 people in Portsmouth area. And we're hoping to finalize the setting up of the facility for them by this month, the month of December, so that they can start in earnest in January, recruiting and starting work. So I'm hoping that all of the young people in the North and the West Coast and the East Coast, you know, if we can leave Dominica and go to the United States to get a job, I say why we can't leave Lapland and go to Portsmouth to get a job. You know, so these are opportunities for all young people in Dominica who like to be employed. There's opportunities there for us to get employed. So let us take advantage of the opportunities. And of course, we are very confident that we will get a replacement medical school. We are engaging the firms. We're engaging them. And we are very confident that by the grace of God, we will get this going. So you can see, if we can get this replacement medical school, we have Clare Harbour employing 300 people, one can appreciate the impact on the economy in Portsmouth, and not only bringing back the period during when Ross was there, but certainly enhancing this. And of course, with the international airport being constructed, certainly we will see huge benefits for us in the North of Dominica and in the entire country. So we are pressing on, notwithstanding the challenges of COVID-19, we're pressing on. I also recognize that public officers are receiving their extra salary, and it's coming in handy. I will say to you that I've asked the Financial Secretary to pay salaries by the 15th of December. So to avoid, obviously, the crowding on Christmas Eve and the rushing on Christmas Eve. So we will start paying on the 15th of December. This is an extraordinary decision. You'll well recognize an extraordinary decision. You know, to pay you, you know, by half of the month. You know, which employer does that? Especially in these difficult times. You know. So we have to be grateful for what's happening. You know, we would love to see many other things happen. You know, I would like to see many other things happen, but we also have to be grateful for what's happening. I've also taken note of the concerns of the public, and I believe at some point I will engage the stakeholders and the general public on this. We got to do with the cost of living and the cost of items on the shelves. You know. And there's an action that I'm hoping to announce this week, God's willing, which I believe and I'm hoping will help in reducing the cost of the customs for folks. I've also asked the Financial Secretary to look at, you know, as it is now, we go about determining what you pay the customs in a compounded manner. You know, let's look at the alternative method and to see which one would help, you know, ease the impact. But same token too, I believe people have to appreciate that the government has to get revenue somewhere, and where do we get the revenue from? You know, so it is something, and this is why what you've seen us doing, we have gradually over the years reduced on the income tax rates. We have increased the income tax threshold. When we came into government, it was 12,000. Now it is 30,000, which means that you don't pay income tax on $30,000 salary, and if you get more than that, your first 40,000 is tax-free. And the bands have been reduced from 20 to 15, from 25 to 20, and from 40 to 35. And we're looking towards further rationalizing these rates. Left to me, ideologically, philosophically, I would get rid of income tax completely. But I cannot impose my views on this in a unilateral manner. I have to be practical and recognize that action could cause some harm to the revenues of the state. And if the revenues of the state are impacted, then we will have an issue. So if we're going to get rid of income tax, what do we do to balance it so that we do not injure ourselves as a country? So these are some discussions that we're having. But I am not a tax person, and it's strange that the Minister of Finance is saying that. But I believe that we should encourage more consumption taxes rather than income tax. I believe if somebody has worked for $5,000, then you should give him his $5,000 and let him consume it the way that he wants, and then we'll tax him on his consumption. So it's a discussion that we have to continue having, but we cannot treat it in a guillotine manner. We cannot just take a decision to cut it off immediately. We have to do so in a responsible manner so that we do not cause unnecessary shock to the system. Somebody's asking, is government going to take a new look at the development of the cruise ship complex at Woodbridge Bay? We are discussing with different players, different interest parties, but I am confident that we will, as part of the dynamic Dominica, build a modern container port. What we have now, cannot stand in terms of being resilient. I mean, luckily we survived the hurricane, and one of the reasons why, a lot of people do not know that, one of the reasons why this port survived the hurricane, it is because of a project which was financed by the government of Venezuela that allowed for serious repairs to be done on the Woodbridge Bay, and that came in at the right time. And so we're really grateful to the government of Venezuela. Had it not been for them, and they spent a significant amount of money there, doing some repairs to the Woodbridge Bay port, and that really helped save the port from the ravages of Hurricane Maria. But certainly going forward, we need to have a new port. Dominica stands to benefit tremendously from cruise tourism, and therefore we need to have more facilities, more services, more attractions for the cruise ships, so more people can get off the ship and spend money on island. So there's a group that has approached us. They're looking at, because even if you were to build a cruise village, clearly from our interactions with the cruise lines, they seem to like Rosa. They love to call on Rosa at the Demi Eugene Charles Boulevard. So we'll certainly also be enhancing the facilities there. So we'll be building a new, not a new, because we really don't have any proper welcoming facility. So we'll be building a welcoming facility there and ensuring that we can improve the offering, the facilities for the vendors, so that the tourists can have a better experience in our country, etc. And of course, that will be done. But certainly, the cruise village and the development of the Woodbridge Bay is a priority for the government. We believe that it will generate tremendous opportunities for us and greater opportunities for the people of the country. 40% loan debt relief. Some students who approve are waiting. No. If you were approved, I don't see the reason why you should be waiting. So if you are waiting, I would urge you to write to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, because we would have communicated with all of the banks for those who have been approved. I know that there there is a list of applicants who did not qualify for one reason or the other, and who are making a case for consideration. And all fairness to them, to some of them, it's really a minor technicality as to why they did not qualify. And the reality, I haven't had a chance to pay particular attention to that list. So I'm hoping I can get some time this week to look at this list of people who have been here working in different fields, and I know some of them, and I look at the reason why they did not qualify based on the criteria. It's really a minor issue, and I think, all fairness to them, we should give a special dispensation, a derogation for that small group of people. So I intend to look at this. But if you got a letter from the government saying that it has been approved, and you were saying to me that you were still waiting, then I would suggest to you that you need to write to the ministry, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, and I'm sure all of them are listening, and the PSs are listening, so that you can clarify this with them. I know somebody messaged me some time ago, but there was a misunderstanding between the person and the Ministry of Education, so it was not necessarily a Ministry of Education issue. But if you have not, and this was a major, and you guys don't even thank me on Facebook. You guys say a lot of things on Facebook. Facebook, Skerrit this, Skerrit. But I mean, if you get a little something, 40%. If you have $100,000 student loan, I've given you $40,000. Never a little thank you on Facebook? Come on, make a little meme or something on this thing and thank the Labour Party for this. $40,000. And people get this thing and they're quiet, But the moment they have a little problem, they're on Facebook, they have a live. I love this country, That's a lot of money that the government has invested. This is an extraordinary decision. Unprecedented. $100,000 student loan, the government gave you, the Labour Party government gave you $40,000. What you can do with this money is to buy a piece of land. Continue treating the loan as if you're still owing $100,000 and save. Somebody's saying there's a phone call, because most of the questions we get on Facebook, right? Yes, caller?
Yes, good evening, PM.
Hi.
Yes, I am listening to the program. I'm enjoying it.
Thank you.
And, a lot of the things that you said, I'm in agreement. I heard you mention about reducing the cost of living, and you talked about reducing the prices of the custom. But I'm concerned that may be done, and which is good, but will it reach me?
Yeah.
Will I benefit from that?
Yeah.
Because sometimes only the people who is costing will receive the benefit. Yeah.
That's I mean, yeah, I agree with you. That's always a concern we have. This is why I always prefer a rebate rather than a reduction in duties. And if the Financial Secretary is listening and the PS of Trade, I think we need to get a list of all of the zero-rated items, VAT zero-rated items in the country, and all of the items that we have removed the import duties on. The list is long, a very long list. I understand that times change and freight increases and this increases and that increases and so forth. But I believe that we all have to play our part. Government, private sector, have to play our part in reducing the prices, and so we will look at it from a government standpoint. And I believe that there's a decision that I believe we can take almost in the immediate that can assist. It will not cause items to go down to zero in terms of the cost, but certainly every little help that we can give is welcomed, I'm sure, by the people. And so we're looking at this. Now, one has to appreciate that this government, like every other government, is operating under serious strain, serious difficulties. I mean, your revenue has dropped, your expenditure has increased. We're spending money on treating people who have contracted COVID. You know, this thing like a cash register, you just punch in digits. You know, when people who refuse to get the vaccines have to get tested every week because of the employers have imposed this thing. A rapid test costs $20 US, and some people say, "Oh, we're getting donations." Yes, we're getting donations, but we're also buying ourselves. And in Dominica, you get the cheapest PCR test anywhere in the world. The cheapest PCR test, $100 EC. Our neighbors are charging $100 US. But we don't pay $100 EC for it, we pay $150 US for it, for PCR test. But we are offering the service to people who are traveling. People who are traveling, not for those who have to get tested for contact tracing or primary contact or secondary contact. Only if you're traveling, you pay for it, $100 EC. You know, we are paying these facilities the accommodation facilities. We have increased staff in the Ministry of Health in a dramatic manner, paying additional allowances. We have to feed the staff down there. We have to feed the people down there. Caterers who are engaged in the government are dancing every day. It's Christmas every week. I mean, they're making money. They're making money. You know, I would like to see people protest when they're making money. You know, pack your vehicle under the cliff and protest and say, okay, well, you know, I made $40,000 from the government. I made $100,000 from the government. I have a contract for $2 million, and protest. You know, everything not going well, we have to protest. Protestation doesn't mean that when things going bad, you know, when things going well, you know, we let the world know, and we recognize that this government, under difficult circumstances, in one cannot contest, is doing a fantastic job. And I say so with the greatest sense of humility, and we thank the Lord for the opportunities. That notwithstanding all of what we're going through, and we've had to borrow money. We've had to borrow money to provide for our people in the circumstances. Yes, caller, please.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Yes, sir. Good evening to you.
Congratulations for the work your government is doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Under these circumstances, I think you are doing an exceptional job. But I'm a little concerned. Is there any small incentive for long-term pensioners?
Pensioners, yeah. That voice sounds familiar. The voice sounds familiar. No, we're looking at this. I've asked the Ministry of Finance to look at pension reform to see what kind of movement can be made, because I recognize that many of your pensions are remain the same. You know, and it's based on the law. So the law is defined a particular way, and therefore what you receive is based on existing legislation. But I believe that we need to take into consideration other variables. The cost of living has increased, you know, for many of you who would have retired 20 years ago. And so what you could have done if your pension 20 years ago is not what you can do if it now because of the cost of living. And we have to be fair on this. And so we're looking at, can we peg an increase in the pension to the cost of living index and so forth. So I don't want to preempt what the analysts will and the consultants will tell us, but I have mandated that we look at this and to see what kind of support we can provide to the pensioners. And I said earlier in my comments, you recognize that we removed the income tax on pensions. Pensions were in fact charged imposed on pensions, and we've removed that. So we're hoping that we can get a report that can advise us on what we can do to really address the pension issue that many of you have raised and continue to raise, and rightly so, and so forth. So we look. I know on the issue of the cost of living, and I know the DIC is meeting with stakeholders. I'm not sure it was this week or last week, but I'm hoping that I could get a report from that meeting. So I'm sure the president of the DIC and the executive director are listening, And so I'll be grateful if we can get a copy of the report to see what recommendations you have in terms of how we can work together towards addressing the cost of living issue and the concerns that the public have been raising about the customs and the cost of the customs and et cetera, et cetera. I think we are coming up to the end of time. I really want to thank all of you for your questions and for your comments and for your suggestions tonight. And I want to say to you that this is our country. We are in this together. If you think you're going through a challenge, just think of me and the government and what the challenge you're going through of managing so many issues, with limited resources. And we thank the Lord for it. We don't complain. We do what we have to do. Well, we still continue to build homes. We still continue to assist people in improving their homes. We still continue to pay for our children who are studying overseas. Obviously, we still have outstanding amounts to them, and we'll continue to honor this commitment. So any commitment we make to a student, we'll honor it. We continue to improve the infrastructure. We continue to improve the health infrastructure, the education infrastructure. So we are making progress, notwithstanding. But one can imagine where we would have been, where we would be without it if COVID-19 wasn't around. I mean, notwithstanding COVID, we're talking about major projects. We're talking about micro projects. We're talking about medium-sized projects. That all will be impacting the lives of our country and placing us on a sustainable growth path that can create more jobs for us. And I don't have time to mention about the digital economy and the opportunities there. Yes, caller, please.
Comrade, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Comrade, good evening. Just want to give a quick solidarity word on our victory in Granby.
Yes, sir.
Whoever think the people of Granby would have done otherwise, I think they were very stupid and silly. The people of Granby knows that they have the government that cares, and they have been in the Labour Party ever since, and they are pledged their solidarity with the party. So I want to just pledge my support and my continuous support for the party, for the Labour Party, and our strong leader. As we move forward, I want to say, forward ever, backward ever, long live our leader, long live the Labour Party.
Thank you very much. I agree with you that those who thought that Granby would have done otherwise do not know the Granby people, and they do not know the Dominican people. And I think the results in Granby, it has sent a signal to political pundits about what the future holds for the Labour Party. Clearly, this country appreciates, the majority of Dominicans appreciate what this Labour Party has done and continues to do for the Dominican people. And people know that in difficult times, they can rely on Labour. We have experienced leadership. We have a clear-minded leadership. And we are very clear on where we want to take this country going. And we do not sit on our hands. We work hard. We put in long hours into this. We do not complain. And we make things look easy, but they're not easy. And I always tell people, if you think it is easy, then reflect on your own circumstance as a family, as the breadwinner in your family. And so look at me as I am the breadwinner of the country and the enormous task that you have in these circumstances. And I mean, I have been tested many times by natural disasters. We have had numerous, when I came in 2004, we had the earthquake affected the north. Then we had, I believe, a trough something in 2007. Then we had Ophelia in 2010. Then we had something we had the oil crisis, where the price of oil went up, I believe, $150, $60 a barrel. Then we had the financial crisis, which lasted for about 8 years, which started in 2007, 2008, and went up until 2015, thereabout. Then we had Erica. No, we had the trough, Christmas trough in 2013. Then we had Erica, serious damage across the length and breadth of Dominica. And then we had Maria that crashed the country. And then we've had this COVID-19 from 2020 going into 2021 and going into 2022. And we're not even talking about the fact that we spent about 6 years. 6 years. So when people say that I've been around for a long time, we spent our first 6 years fixing the financial systems in the country. We went through a structural adjustment program to address a lot of structural problems in the economy. High debt that we couldn't pay. We couldn't pay salaries. It was a mess, and it took us over 6 years to fix. And so we spent the first 6 years of the government fixing things. But notwithstanding all of the disasters, and one can appreciate that if we had none of the disasters, like countries in the Caribbean have never seen a hurricane. They've never seen a flood. You understand? We've had to endure serious external shocks and natural disasters. But we have never stopped with our efforts to creating a better way of life for our citizens, taking Dominica to the next level. And we have confounded all independent observers that how have we been able to survive? And I said to Dominicans, and I've said to the World Bank and the IMF, I met them last week or week after that. With all of these disasters that we've had, Maria, and I'll stick with Erica and Maria, 90% of our GDP affected, 226% of our GDP. You know, as Minister of Finance, I never asked anybody for debt forgiveness. And I never asked anybody to defer the payments of the debt. Never. And in the real situation, if your economy is affected by 226% and impacted, of course you have no revenue coming, because as you know, for several months we allow everything to come in the country with no VAT, no custom duties, nothing at all. So there was no revenue whatsoever for several months after the hurricane. And we did not ask anybody for any debt forgiveness. And we provided for our people because we managed the affairs of the country prudently. So when the hurricane came, we had over $300 million saved from the CBI funds. That's what we used in large measure to address the immediate challenges of Hurricane Maria. You understand? And when independent observers and ourselves here in Dominica said it will take us 20 years to rebuild Dominica, to get Dominica back to where it was on the night of September 17, right? 2017. 20 years. And so you trust people and you place your confidence in people, not in good times, not when people see you in, when things get rough. And the question is, who you will go to bed knowing that the country is in safe hands, and you will have a country when you wake up next morning, and you and your family will be safe. And this is the fundamental question we have to ask ourselves as citizens of this country. So let us go forth and appreciate what happened in Dominica. Let us thank the Lord. I say to people all the time, I am just an instrument that the Lord is using in this country. Just an instrument. So I gave the Lord all of the praises and so forth. And I want us to always look at the positive side in this country. This is our country. Being negative is not going to help anybody. You can criticize, but you have to be constructive. And so let us be positive. Let us see the glass half full rather than half empty. And what we can do to the least of our brothers, let us do it. And let us work together. I am inviting all Dominicans to work with this government, irrespective of your personal or political or religious affiliation. This is our country. And we have to appreciate and recognize that we are in this together. So if you want your circumstance to address, we have to work together. We have to work together as a country. And to also appreciate that we're not the only one in the country. There are many other people with many other needs. There are many organizations, many sectors, many industries, all have their own individual needs and circumstances to address. And so I want to thank you for spending this hour with me on this episode of Anupali. I enjoy these opportunities where I can take questions from the public and to receive suggestions. This is our country, and it's always important as a democracy that we engage ourselves. And there are not many countries in the world where a leader avails himself to be scrutinized and to be quizzed by the citizens and by the press. And so we do so. And I believe that what we are doing, this current generation of leaders in the Labour Party, I believe, based on my historical knowledge, is unprecedented in terms of our availing ourselves and subjecting ourselves to be scrutinized by the public. And we welcome it. We have no difficulty in it because we believe that we can provide the accurate responses and comments to your questions, and we also appreciate your suggestions. So thank you very much. May God bless you. May God bless our country. Let us pray that this variant does not affect us, but let us be wise, let us be sensible, and let us do what we believe is right, which is getting vaccinated. This going and test every week and so on is fine because we have to know our status, but that's not going to prevent you. Testing is not going to prevent you from getting COVID. Testing is going to tell you whether you have it or you don't have it. And I have heard stories from people themselves who are not vaccinated, and they have said to me, Skerrit, I got this COVID, my friend, and I am not going to wish it on my enemy. People are saying to me that they experience real rough time with their respiratory system, and it has really given them a serious blast. So let us be sensible, let us be wise, and this is not an argument we should be having. This is not a fight we should be having. It's a sensible approach to this. It's a practical approach to this. And if there's something that can prevent us from getting severely ill or even dying, I believe it's in our interest to get it going. So thank you very much. I will have spent the whole night with you tonight, speaking to you and taking your questions. But God's willing, I will see you next Sunday. Have a wonderful evening, and let us all work together for the development of our country. Thank you. Good night.
Hi guys, my name is Adam Ford from Adam Songs. Honestly, it was a bit hard to come in and decided to take the vaccine. But when I think of everyone else and I think of the entertainment industry, I just had to decide, you know what, let me just take that chance and make that decision. So I just want to encourage everyone, that for some reason they want things to get back to normalcy, for whatever reason, I think they should take that chance and make that choice also.
Hi Hi everyone, I'm Nadia Farrell Peanut, Head of the Adult Education Division.
Hi, my name is Miss Roach. I'm the Minister Secretary for Ministry of Governance.
Hi, I'm Consuelo Warrington, Administrative Assistant at the Establishment Personnel and Training Department.
Hi, I'm Charmaine Thomas from the Ministry of Governance.
Hi, I'm Bruna John Baptiste, Senior Clerk, Establishment Personnel and Training Department.
Hi, I'm Emmeline Augustine, Establishment. Just wanted to know that
I got vaccinated.
I got vaxxed.
I got vaccinated. I got vaccinated.
I got vaccinated.
I got vaxxed.
And I encourage you to get vaccinated.
Take the vaccine. Take the vaccine.